In a world destroyed by an unknown virus, survival isn't just about avoiding sickness, it's about protecting your family from both physical and psychological threats. Welcome to our deep dive into It Comes at Night, a harrowing thriller that explores what happens when fear, paranoia, and mistrust take root in isolation. We're going to walk through every key plot point and uncover the film's deeper themes. Spoilers ahead, so let's dive right in. The film opens on a devastating note. Bud, an elderly man, is suffering from a deadly illness. He's wheezing, sweating, and his skin is covered in boils. His daughter, Sarah, speaks softly to him, trying to comfort him as much as she can. But there's something off. Sarah wears a gas mask, maintaining distance from her father, signaling the danger he poses to her and the rest of the family. With the weight of an inevitable decision on their shoulders, Paul, Sarah's husband, and their son, Travis, wheel Bud into the woods. Travis, though clearly distressed, knows what must be done. The scene is heart-wrenching as the camera focuses on Travis, who places a pillow over his grandfather's head and pulls the trigger, ending Bud's suffering. This grim act sets the tone for the rest of the film, where survival comes at an enormous emotional cost. Bud's body is burned immediately, another grim reminder that infection cannot be taken lightly in this world. There's no room for mourning or traditional goodbyes. Everything in this family's life is about containment and survival. The story follows Paul, Sarah, and Travis, who have isolated themselves in a remote house in the woods, sheltering from the unknown virus that has decimated the country. The world outside is dangerous, filled with uncertainty. They only have their dog, Stanley, to keep them company. The rules in this house are strict. Always wear a mask near potential infection, never go outside unnecessarily, and above all, never trust outsiders. However, even within the safety of their home, terror lingers. Travis, the teenage son, is haunted by recurring nightmares. He sees disturbing images of sick and wheezing people, sometimes even his own family, contorted in pain. These nightmares serve as both a foreshadowing device and a manifestation of Travis's growing fears, about both the outside world and the fragility of his own safety. One night, things take a sharp turn. The family is awoken by the sound of someone trying to break into their house. Grabbing their guns, Paul and Sarah go to investigate. They find a man named Will trying to force his way in. Paul, ever cautious, immediately subdues him, tying him to a tree outside and covering his head with a sack. Paul questions Will, desperate to know whether he's alone or if more people are lurking nearby. Will claims he thought the house was abandoned and that he's just looking for food and water for his family, his wife and young son, who are several miles away. He even offers to trade livestock in exchange for help. Still suspicious, Paul isn't convinced right away. But after some time, he decides to take a chance. With extreme caution, Paul agrees to help Will retrieve his family, hoping that by doing so, they can all survive together. The trip to Will's family is dangerous. As they drive through the woods, their truck is suddenly shot at by two armed men. In a brutal fight for survival, Paul manages to kill both attackers, though Will protests, wanting to keep one alive for answers. This deadly encounter only reinforces how dangerous the outside world has become. There are no easy answers, and the lines between friend and foe are constantly blurred. When Paul and Will return to the house, they bring back Will's wife, Kim, and their young son, Andrew. Initially, the two families seem to integrate well. They share meals together, play board games, and even begin to relax in each other's company. It feels like, for the first time in a long while, there's a sense of normalcy, however fragile it might be. But beneath the surface, cracks begin to form. Travis, who has been grappling with his own fears and trauma, becomes infatuated with Kim. He spies on her, listens to her conversations, and even has a dream where she seduces him, only for the dream to take a nightmarish turn as Kim begins spewing black bile into his mouth. This disturbing imagery highlights the psychological toll isolation has taken on Travis. Things soon take a darker turn. One night, Stanley, the family dog, begins barking uncontrollably at something unseen in the woods. Travis chases after him, but Stanley disappears. When Stanley eventually returns, it's clear that something terrible has happened. He's gravely injured and sick, likely infected. Once again, Paul is forced to make a difficult decision, and Stanley is put down to protect the family. The death of Stanley becomes the catalyst for rising tensions between the two families. Travis begins to suspect that Andrew, the young boy, might have sleepwalked and left the door open, letting something, or someone, in. When questioned, Will and Kim become defensive, further straining the already fragile trust between the households. As paranoia intensifies, Paul begins to question everything. Is Will's family truly healthy? Has the virus already entered their home? In a moment of growing suspicion, Paul interrogates Travis, asking if he touched Andrew without gloves, knowing full well the consequences if the virus is spread through contact. Finally, the tension explodes. Paul demands to see Andrew to check if he's sick. But Will, fearing for his family's safety, takes Paul's gun and holds him at gunpoint. The situation quickly spirals out of control. In the chaos that follows, Paul kills both Will and Kim. Tragically, in the crossfire, their young son Andrew is also killed. The weight of this violence breaks whatever fragile hope was left. But the nightmare isn't over. Travis, now visibly sick, begins to show symptoms of the virus. As he deteriorates, Sarah stays by his side, whispering comforting words as her son slowly succumbs to the illness. The film ends with Paul and Sarah, now infected themselves, sitting at the table in silence. They share a shattered, haunted look. Their entire world has been destroyed by mistrust, fear, and desperation, without ever fully knowing if the real danger came from the outside or from within themselves. Voiceover, reflective tone. It Comes at Night isn't just a film about surviving a virus, it's about the insidious nature of fear. In a world where paranoia rules and trust is shattered, the real horror comes from within. What would you do if you couldn't trust anyone, not even your family? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more in-depth movie explorations. Let us know in the comments below, what do you think It Comes at Night says about human nature and survival?